All right, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to our June Wisconsin Coalition for Social Connection meeting. If you don't know me, I'm Suzanne Morley. I work for the Wisconsin Institute for Healthy Aging. And before we get started with our speakers for the day, if you want to throw in the chat your name and a quick little icebreaker for the day, since we're talking a lot about community today. If you could launch any community project tomorrow, funds aren't a limit, you could just get it up and off the ground, what would it be? I put this question in here this morning and I honestly haven't even got my answer yet, but I think I would probably do something related to a really nice bike path. I think that's kind of missing where I live. Ooh, community art installations, love that. Monthly community meal at the YMCA. Countywide transportation for all age groups, definitely important. A caravan, bus that responds to folks in community in distress and crisis. Mutual support that provides a space to be seen and heard. Love that. Community food bank and grocery store. Kathy, you are launching it. Intergenerational butterfly fostering at multiple assisted living facilities. That's awesome. A time bank. Allison, I'm not sure what that is. If you want to expand on that in the chat, that would be great. Urban stables for youth to take horseback riding lessons. That sounds amazing. Free store, no cost items donated by community. Improve public transportation. That's a big one, definitely. Maybe I'm the only one in the dark about what a time bank is. Daniela, care team, community assistance for risks and environment, help for those with hoarding or unsanitary, unsafe conditions. Yes, that's super, super important. Okay, apparently a time bank is a great way to engage folks in sharing their assets and strengths with their neighbors. Awesome, we'll have to look into that a little bit. Temple University Power of Dependable Souls, or PODS pilot program. You'll have to throw a link maybe in the chat for that one, Tracy. Friends to provide one-on-one community connections for those living in residential facilities. Awesome. These are some great ideas. Hopefully you're getting some inspiration here and maybe looking for some grant funding to start funding some of this stuff, or maybe some community champions. We have a couple of speakers today, so I'm excited to get started with Michael, who is with Mingle Space, and then we'll also have Karen and Lynn with Ebb and Flow Connections Cooperative. We'll have some time for Q&A after both of their presentations. We have a really brief coalition updates, and then have some time at the end, hopefully, for some local updates, and we'll wrap up from there. So, Michael, I'm going to turn it over to you. Michael will be sharing about Mingle Space. Michael, do you want to share your own slides, or do you want me to share for you?
If you have them pulled up, I can tell you to go ahead. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, I can hear you great.
Excellent. Good to see you again, Suzanne.
You too.
Thanks for the invitation to present today. So my name is Michael Kirsch. I'm the director of Mingle Space. We are a national nonprofit based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And our mission, we're working to make spontaneous connection something that happens at everyday places. And what I want to share with you today is a small tweak in our social infrastructure that can make that happen. So you can move to the next slide. So the question is, what if every gathering place offered an easy, low-pressure way for neighbors to meet? That's what a mingle space is, a clearly marked table or area where anyone is invited to say hi to someone they haven't met. And you can see here an example of this. If you were walking up to a coffee shop table, or at a brewery, or even catching a flight at the airport. What if there was an area where you knew you could walk up?
Michael, I'm losing you a little bit.
Can you move on to the next slide?
Yeah. Am I the only one that is having a bad connection? Nope. Okay. Michael, I don't know if you want to turn your camera off. Maybe that'll help a little bit. We might have just lost him.
I'm just gonna walk into the other room. I'm not at my house. I'm doing a event this evening, so I'm at a venue early, and I was worried the internet here would be bad. Let me just see if let me see if this works.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll move to the next
Uh,
slide while I'm doing that.
okay. Can you can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we are collaborating with places to create these mingle spaces. Our mission is to make spontaneous connection easy in the places that we already go day to day. It can be, and we're working to achieve this mission based on partnering with places to create these types of spaces. And what we believe is that places can take the lead in encouraging connection. Places can take the lead in making everyday places something where connection can happen. We don't have to leave it up to the individual. And by creating a designated spot where strangers can say hello, uh, spontaneous interaction could happen naturally more often. And also, we believe that connection should be something that is happening every day. It can be something. It doesn't require a special event or an app. No one should have to wait for a special event or an app just to meet new people. Um, and the idea is, what if we make spontaneous connection something that is as easy to use, as simple to use as a water fountain? It's there when you need it. It's easy to access, and it's always available, and it's just part of the environment. It's something just as simple as that. Um, and thirdly, that spontaneous connection can build a community by creating more trust. When strangers can talk to each other, it makes places feel more welcoming. It opens places up, and so that's it can create stronger communities by making this happen more often. Okay, you can go on to the next slide. So how does this work? Actually, the formats of my slides, if you don't mind, I'll just share. It seems like the formatting got really messed up. I can just share my PDF. Let me see. Can you?
Yeah, I think I gave you sharing
Okay.
privileges.
All right. Let's see if this works. All right. How about now?
If I can see that.
Okay. You can see that?
Yep. Looks good.
Okay. All right. So how does this work? So the idea here is that we create this little piece of social infrastructure in partnership with places. So we aim to partner with places of all kinds, coffee shops, museums, airports, even hotel lobbies, breweries, sports arenas, anywhere that people gather. So you would see a sign say, meet new people here. Once you see that this is a mingle space table or an area, you know that if anyone's there, you can just walk up and say, hey, what's going on? And then the signs would have welcoming messages like meet new people here, stop and chat. I don't know if anyone's seen Curb Your Enthusiasm or is a fan, but Larry David's not a big fan of stop and chat. So that's just kind of a fun one. Say hi, you're in a mingle space. Or just permission to say hi. I've had a lot of people say that's what we need. We just need permission to say hi. Or say hi to someone you haven't met yet. And that's really my favorite one because that's just literally quick invitation what you're supposed to do. And then well, one thing is talking to new people can be a little bit, somewhat scary to some people, or you're not sure what to talk about and you don't want to just stick on the questions about the weather and work and so on. So one way to make meaningful connection more likely is to have fun conversation prompts built into every mingle space. So people pull out their phones, they scan the QR code. You could even scan the screen right now and have it pop up on your phone. And we go to then fun conversation prompts. So uh, we have guidelines of taking turns asking questions, listen to each other. So topics like what if, imagination, what's a fun idea you've always dreamed of seeing happen? Have you ever had an idea for an invention? What would you really love to do if you could? Or a topic like what matters to you? If time and money wasn't an issue, what's a fun idea? What's a project you'd love to work on? And we also have community connections as a topic. It's not shown here, but things like if you could create a great art project in community, what would it be? If your neighborhood could create some event to bring people together, what would it be? So the idea is not only to create more opportunities for people to spontaneously connect, but also then to allow people to share and draw out ideas that we miss out on discussing and sharing every day because we miss out on these connections with random strangers. And then we also have special event themes, any type of event, conferences, museums, wherever you are, there could be a theme. And any place that creates one could create a custom topic for their event. We also have activities. So story share stories, or improv games or word games. So if you're suddenly create a spontaneous gathering with strangers at the coffee shop and want to hang out for a half an hour, now you can do fun games. So my vision for this and what we're really looking to collaborate with people on this call on and the Wisconsin Social Connection Coalition is uh, to create this network of mingle spaces, 10,000 of them across the country. And what would that really look like? How much fun would that be? Imagine a world where nearly everywhere you go, there's always an opportunity, not a requirement to engage, but there's always an opportunity at all these types of places, whether it's a Chipotle or a Cousin Subs, or stop in the mall for a stop and chat, or you're at your local county fair. Or the universities to bring more young people together. And then my favorite is the airport. There's so many times when I'm waiting for the flight. Thousands of people, we're all walking around, but we can't talk to each other because we miss this small invitation. So right now we are just starting, but we have some fun things going this summer, all summer. We have South Milwaukee. The city has created in the park a three-way sign. You can see one side of it here in Bucyrus Commons. So we'll have stickers on the table as well. This picnic area will be the mingle space. Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra this spring has created a mingle space at some of their Friday events. Capitol Brewery in Madison and their beer garden, and some breweries in Milwaukee, Sugar Maple, Indeed Brewing, Urban Harvest. And then we have a nice Trickleby Cafe is doing it. So we're just getting some places. We're giving these signs away and the design for free in Madison and Milwaukee. Any city or place around the country can download the sign files and print the signs and try it out. We make it really easy. They just go to the website. Any place that wants to participate goes to our participate page. They can see that the benefits of doing this would create more um, opportunities for people to stick around longer. So you increase the dwell time, whether it's at the park or at the coffee shop. People may come back more often to meet more people, or you can meet people at the gym. You can make a friend over time. Maybe more people would want to go places because they could meet people. So there's a lot of benefits, and then they can um, create one, add to our directory, get access to the sign files for free, or they can order them for us. We're still awaiting our 501c3 status. Once we'll have that, hopefully in a month, I can start applying for grants or find a place, do fiscal sponsorship sooner, and then we can give signs away, um, banners, A-frames, and all the table signs for free. So what I'm really hoping today is to find collaborators. We are looking for direct referrals. If you know of any type of place including apartment complexes, social group living centers, or that would be really fun to start trying that out. But really, we're looking for a direct partnership with organizations. So, we'd love to be a tool of an organization like yours, the Wisconsin Social Connection Coalition, um, and really any organization around the country that wants to try this out and see if this social experiment could get legs and people could start to see, oh yes, let's just create these and it can be part of our environment. And for any organization or place that wants to create one, we have a whole guide of every possible question you could want to know about this on our guide for places, how to set it up, what it is. And then for people, best practices, social guidelines, what to do if you don't want to get trapped in a conversation with someone you don't feel comfortable with. All that kind of stuff is all answered on the guide. And we have a flyer that anyone can share. Um, so yeah, what I like to say is that this is really about um, making social connection more abundant for all of us and unlocking the potential of misconnections. What by building this new piece of social infrastructure, imagine it was all over the place. We can unlock the potential of all these people that we never get to meet, whether it's a 5-minute chat or a longer discussion, and start sharing fun ideas for how to um, improve communities or just make more meaningful connections with people more naturally. Um, so yeah, I think that is the main thing I wanted to share, and that I'd love to. If anyone wants to sign up, we have a newsletter. You can find out more at minglespace.com, and really would love to work with anyone that wants to collaborate on this. Right now, we have yeah, so I'll just leave it there and open up if there's any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. If anyone does have any questions, feel free to throw those in the chat. We'll have some time for Q&A after both of the speakers have gone. Unless, Michael, I know you said you have an event. Do you have to sign off?
No, the event is at 6 tonight. We're doing
Okay.
like a Mingle Space launch party here in Madison. So we're
Oh,
giving away signs to any business that comes. They can. So I just got here early. How's my Wi-Fi connection?
it's good. It's good now. There, you cut out for a second, but
Okay.
you're good now. But thank you so much for sharing. I love
Okay.
the permission to say hi. And there's so many times where you're at a coffee shop or at the airport and you kind of think, hey, maybe I could strike up a conversation, but maybe you don't want to intrude on someone or you're not sure if they would like that. So I love that, permission to engage and connect with people around us. And I'm seeing some comments appreciating that in the chat as well. Again, if anyone does have questions,
Uh,
throw those in the chat, and then we will move on to Karen and Lynn, who are going to share a little bit about their community living room. So Karen, I'll let you go ahead and share your slides right away.
All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So glad to be with you. My name is Karen Iverson Riggers. My pronouns are she, her. I'm here with Lynn McLaughlin. We are founding worker owners of Ebb and Flow Connections Cooperative, which is a worker owned cooperative that started in Northeast Wisconsin. We've got members throughout the state. So we're so glad to be with you today to share a little bit about our work, particularly our community living room project. So this is probably familiar to all of you, but is really where we ground our work as a cooperative. And that is the idea that connection is prevention. So we believe really strongly, and I know this from my own personal experience, that connection with ourselves, deep with our emotions, as well as connection with other people can really be prevention. It's a social protective factor for us. So this is really where we ground a lot of our work. So wanted to share a little bit about our cooperative. It was established in November of 2021. And we're committed to expanding opportunities for social connection and emotional wellness that improve the quality of life for people in our communities. We are passionate about creating spaces where people feel seen, heard, and valued. Through training, listening, healing spaces, and consultation, we offer opportunities for people to learn about and experience emotional wellness and healing. So the cooperative really was grounded out of some work we started doing in 2019 in the Fox Valley and Appleton, Oshkosh area, where we were bringing emotional CPR or eCPR to a nonprofit locally. And that seeded and grew and grew and grew. And then our work grew as well. And so the cooperative was founded as an organizing structure for doing our work. So we're not a nonprofit. We do have an amazing fiscal sponsor in Chrysalis, which is a peer support organization that's located in Dane County and is really aligned with the values of our work. We are a cooperative. So everyone in our cooperative is a worker owner. We all have shared ownership with the organization and shared decision making. So it's amazing working in this way together. Also, really challenging because we're really used to hierarchy and somebody else telling us what to do. And so it's been a lot of learning for all of us in doing this work together and learning about how to work together in an equitable way. So we all come from diverse backgrounds. The folks that are in our cooperative, we have diverse professional experiences. We have someone who's a retired police lieutenant from the Appleton Police Department. We have folks who have worked in mental health as psychologists. We have a teacher. We have folks who have worked in nonprofit. But all of us have our own and are really grounded in our own lived experience with mental health, substance use, trauma, or other adverse experiences. And so we've got members who have all different skill sets, all come from all different backgrounds, but are all equally passionate about connection and about creating spaces where folks can be seen, heard, and valued just as they are. So we do a lot of training. That's one big part of what the cooperative does. I mentioned eCPR or emotional CPR. eCPR is an international public health community education program that teaches folks how to assist someone in emotional distress or crisis. And it was really out of eCPR. We've now trained more than 2,500 people in eCPR, and folks really asked, like, where can I find someone who's going to listen like this? And so that's partly how our community living room project was born. We continue to do lots of eCPR training. We have offerings coming up the rest of this year, both in person and virtual. And I'll pop our websites in the chat, so you can feel free to access all of our training there. We have a curriculum that we created called The Missing Piece, which is all about emotional health and wellness. eCPR really talks about connecting at the level of emotion. And in our learning, we learned that a lot of us don't get a lot of education on emotion and emotional health and how to process emotion and how to sit with emotion. And so Missing Piece was born out of that in trying to build capacity for folks to really understand emotion and emotional wellness. And then we also have a curriculum called Listening to Trauma, which is all about recognizing the impact of trauma and what's happened to us and how that influences how we show up in the world. So this is just like a little sampling of all of the training that we do. We believe in that education piece as a piece to really help folks build capacity for their emotional wellness, but also to support the emotions of others.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Lynn McLaughlin, one of the other founding members of Ebb and Flow Cooperative. So Karen talked a little bit about the number of people that we had trained through emotional CPR and this ongoing request, especially at the end of training when people have connected at this very deep, excuse me, place of emotion where they have felt connection deeply. Where do we go? So we created the community living room, and the community living room has a number, and Karen mentioned this too, a number of different ways that it shows up. We do virtual community living rooms. We also do pop-ups in community, whether it's an event or an organization. We do a lot of living rooms around supporting people that work with their hearts, people that a lot of them are experiencing burnout right now, and we're doing our best to really recreate that connection point. We were gifted a space in downtown Appleton. We are on the first floor of the Rise Affordable Housing Development in Appleton. It is, I always almost go speechless, which is really unusual for me. When I talk about the living room, it is such a transformative space. People coming in looking for a sense of belonging. It's connection and belonging. There is this sense of this is our space. It's not Karen and Lynn's space. It's our space, and it's our home, and it's our living room, and these deep connections that happen, and then people connect with one another and do things outside of the living room. And it's amazing, especially when we center that emotional connection with one another. If you can think of times in your life where you have gone through something really difficult and you were met with, well, it's really not that bad, or other people have it worse, or you're making such a big deal out of this. And sometimes that messaging comes from others, and sometimes that comes from within. So we hesitate sharing where we're at emotionally. And this space, all emotions are welcome and embraced, and it's beautiful to watch the transformation that happens. So Karen gave a little bit of the history. Started in 2019 with the pandemic and an urgent need for connection. Our training went online virtually through Zoom. We also had a listening space open at Levin, which was the nonprofit that helped us seed the work. And we had, at that time, we had a warm line as well that people could call. Sometimes they just wanted to say hello and know that there was somebody else in the world during that lockdown time. So we had those three ways of connecting. As more and more people were trained, we applied for a planning grant and received that through the Community Foundation of the Fox Valley. After talking to people in community, stakeholders, and asking, this is what we are thinking, what would best serve you and serve the people that you serve, and then also talking to people directly about how do we get reconnected. From that planning grant, we got a pilot grant. And then in 2024, we like to call it our Big Girl Grant. We got a grant from Advancing Healthier Wisconsin to expand our work from primarily Outagamie County into Winnebago County. We have an educator, a doctor of suicidology that we work with that did a lot of research and data collection around what this model provides, both the ECPR training and the living room. And that was working with Dr. Sarah Kolbeck from the Medical College of Wisconsin was amazing and so validating that the type of connections that are happening are different than I think Michael even said this, more than, the weather or hello. It's how are you, and then how are you really, and creating that space to just share who you are and where you're at. In October of 2024, we opened the living room space in downtown Appleton. We're open 2 days a week. Each day, we're working on more funding to be open more. But that's a little bit of the history of how this came to be. So some things that we hold very sacred about the living room is it's a non-clinical, person-centered environment, specifically for people seeking social connection and emotional support. We've had a lot of people say, so who is the demographic? Who is this space for? And we always respond with, if they have a heartbeat and they're breathing, we want them to come and see us. Because there's this opportunity to connect. So the primary objective is to utilize the concept of connection as a framework for prevention in a no-cost, community-based supportive space. Oftentimes the focus is on crisis. We are the upstream. Hopefully, as people are recognizing that they need connection, they're able to come in and get support before hitting that crisis point. All of the listeners are paid, have their own experience, as Karen had mentioned. The pop-ups are open for 3 hours. We always provide food. There are no appointments needed, no insurance needed. It's a drop-in living room. And what's really beautiful about this space is people know they can come in. If they just need a bottle of water, they'll come in, take one out of the fridge and go, hi, Karen and Lynn, and then leave like you would in your own living room. There's also snacks and other essential type of things. We have a whole space called Take What You Need, and people are able to help themselves in that area, which is really powerful too. Something that we have had, and it's so hard talking about this in such a short time, I'm just going to say because there's so many more pieces that we could pull together. We have had a number of different counties specifically, but also organizations approach us about how would we bring this community living room model into our community in whatever form community is. So we have created a webinar that we're going to have on August 20th from 3 to 5 p.m. And it's basically going to talk about what does this model really mean. We talk often in the space about the values that we hold deeply within that space and how that's kind of the foundation that we build on. So hopefully you can join us for that.
So we wanted to offer a little opportunity for connection for you. This is like your own invitation to come and join us at the community living room at our space in Appleton or at our pop-ups that take place throughout the region. We would love to see you. The space is for you. As Lynn had mentioned, we often share this in community and people are like, oh, this is great. I'll share this with the clients that we serve. And we say like, also, this is for you. We recognize the heavy lift that folks are making, especially in this current time, in working with their hearts and supporting other people, and who is supporting you. We also offer virtual community living rooms, and you can find the whole calendar of when those are offered at communityliving.org. But wanted to share this with you as well. You can sign up on our website, or you can hit this QR code to get our daily connection text. So we have a daily connection text that will pop into your text inbox. Just as a reminder to connect with yourself, to take some time to slow down, to pause. As Lynn said, like, how are you really? doing today. So just wanted to share this with all of you. We have lots of other resources on our website as well. We have a podcast too called Real Vibes Only that is all about talking about connection. We always joke around and say that if you're looking for a professionally produced podcast, this is not it. This is Lynn and I having conversation about what is real for us in the moment. So certainly invite that for all of you as a resource as well. We love connecting with you. So if you have more questions or if you want to learn more about this, reach out. Our emails are here. Our websites, we've got two websites, one for the cooperative and one for the community living room project. We would certainly love to hear from you if this is something that sparks your interest for you or for your community. We would love to connect. And again, offering that webinar in August for kind of a more deep dive into community living room and a framework for starting the project in your community. So thank you so much. A speedy 20 minutes to share about our project, but we're so glad to be with each and every one of you, and just huge thanks for all that you do in the spaces where you work to provide connection for others. So thanks so much, y'all. I think we've got some time for questions, so I'll kick it back to Stephen.
Just a second. Okay, we have plenty of time for questions. So if anyone does have any questions, again, you can feel free to come off of mute. You can drop them in the chat. But if you have any questions about Mingle Space, the community living room, all of the great work that was shared today, feel free to ask those. Let's take a look in the chat.
Quick question regarding the cost of the programs. For Mingle Space, is there a cost for businesses or organizations to participate and get the signage?
So I can't give away the banners and the A-frames for free, but right now in Milwaukee and Madison, we have a promotion where we can drop off any table signs for places that want to participate. Participation is free beyond the cost of printing the signs. Any place can download the sign files for free from our website once they're an approved participant. And then we have an online sign store. They can order the signs, or they can download and then ship, send the signs to Vistaprint if they want to make banners for their events, or they can get signs made for, acrylic sign holders or whatever they want to do with the files.
Awesome, thank you.
I did forget to mention one thing that I want to add is on our prompts and activities page, we invite people to share their fun ideas about community projects they'd like to see in their neighborhood, or art projects, things like that, or fun even inventions to the website. And then we will gather all these ideas and share them back anonymously with each community, right? So each Mingle space could kind of be like a mine of mining ideas in the community. So a lot of people that don't get to share their ideas. And then, so it's a spot you could say, oh, I go have this fun conversation, maybe this could get shared back out with the city. So in that way, it can really build community.
Yeah, I love that, coming right from the community, the people that live there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess it's called asset-based community development. I didn't know that phrase, but that, right? Build our communities from the inside. We've got all these fun ideas, and a lot of people that nobody ever asks them what they think. So
yeah, that's
this
perfect.
could be the egalitarian.
I know you all touched on this a little bit, but any other, feedback from participants that you'd want to share? I know our coalition, focuses specifically on older adults and people with disabilities. So if you have any stories related to those populations, that would be great. But maybe each of you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share. So, um, one of the grounding pieces of our work was building a lot of relationships with community stakeholders. So, a couple stories to share. One, about our in Appleton, our senior center, Thompson Community Center, which now just moved into a new space. But we've had opportunities to hold pop-up community living rooms there, and that actually then people wanted more. They were like, we want more. And so we did a whole like workshop training series with them around, we did one on grief and we did one on emotions and lots of great dialogue there. One of the things that I think is most powerful about the space that we're in is there are folks from all walks of life who come into our space, the space that's in downtown Appleton. We're located just a couple blocks from our transit center, from our library, from one of the homeless shelters, from a place that has free meals. So we have folks from all walks of life who come into our space and connect with each other in who might not ever have a chance to talk to each other otherwise. And it is really cool to see what happens in creating community. And Lynn mentioned that Take What You Need corner where we have Narcan and we have fentanyl test strips and we have safer sex supplies and food and we have art and craft kits that people can take. But people bring in things all the time to share with other people in community. And I think one of my favorite stories was somebody who comes to the living room, brought in a whole bunch of clothes that no longer worked for them anybody anymore. Somebody else came in and needed like professional clothes for an interview and found an outfit, and the other person was sitting there, right? And they got to see this. So it's the space is about connection, but also really about building community with each other and especially community with people who we might not normally cross paths.
I was going to add to that. This just happened this past weekend. A person who had stopped in, and we always ask people if you want something to drink, there's the fridge. And a man and another man came in and he took a Coke out of the fridge. He came back this Saturday with a 12 pack and said, I want to make sure everyone has a real Coca-Cola, which I thought was really funny. But I also think with the affordable housing units above us, there are a lot of elderly people who live alone, who are really lonely. And we have a couple of people that come down and spend quite a bit of time in the living room. And they have found a sense of purpose in this living room. A number, one in particular is super involved. She always makes a birthday cake because we have a birthday celebration every month for anyone whose birthday is in June or in May or whatever. She also has been doing a lot of work in making sure we have extra blankets when people get cold. We have a pile of blankets that people can grab from. And she has created friendships with people within the space. She's going with another person she met who has an appointment that she didn't want to go by herself. And these two people are now going because they know each other and trust has been built in the living room. And those stories are the ones that touch me really, really deeply because it goes beyond the living room. Like this space, what happens in this space and the connections being made and the way that connection continues outside of the space it is very heartful work is the best way to say that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Michael, any participant or business testimonials to add?
I've had a lot of people tell me that they would love to go to more events by themselves, but they know they don't have a spot they can go meet new people at those events. That there's not something there, for them that makes it easy. A lot of people too, so many people have told me, oh my God, the young people need this. they need the people at universities, they're lonely, these kids, and they don't know how to talk to each other anymore. So we really need to create these mingle space areas inside the student unions, right? Um, yeah, I've just had hundreds of people say, "Oh my God, I would use this." I would love to go stop at the coffee shop and talk to people. So yeah, I know, and I see all the time on Reddit, just across the country, every city, there's all these questions. How do I meet new people without drinking? Not at the bar. I've just had so many people tell me that they would use this if it existed. So, and as far as the places, people really love what's a fun invention you've always had in mind, because it immediately breaks down the barriers. Once people can start talking about fun imagination things, suddenly it doesn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat. People just suddenly form a connection. So that's another thing is a lot of solutions here. One is, yes, loneliness and isolation, but also uh, getting people to come across political divides because they suddenly now meeting a stranger where they didn't expect to. They didn't come for an event. It wasn't planned, right?
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, Mike. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat, but I am seeing some thank yous and some great, you know, appreciation for the work that you all do. So thank you for sharing to our group. I will share out the resources as well after the webinar for today. But it's a quick coalition update just to save the date. In 5-ish months or so, we'll have our next Social Connection Awareness Week for Wisconsin. So the Awareness Committee will start to meet in July through November to plan for the Wisconsin Social Connection Awareness Week. And if you're interested in being a part of that planning committee, definitely contact me. If you have any event planning experience, social media experience, or just have some really great ideas. If you remember from last year, we did a series of webinars on some different topics: intergenerational connection, parks and rec, technology, different topics like that. So we'll be planning for what the week is going to look like in November of this year. So again, if you're interested in joining, feel free to contact us. Now I'll leave it open for a little bit. We tried this at our last regularly scheduled network meeting. So if anyone has any local updates to share, any events, questions, challenges, successes, resources, other programs like Mingle Space or community living rooms that you've come across, feel free to drop those in the chat or come off of mute. I'll be quiet for a little bit to allow some time for that.
And I just want to jump in for 20 seconds that if anyone has an idea for like a senior center or a place that they would like me to reach out to, please drop that in the chat.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. I know there's some great things happening throughout the state, so feel free to brag a little bit. Tricia shared that she's reached out to the Community Partners Campus in Marathon County and shared your link. And I'm assuming that's related to Mingle Space. Thanks, Tricia.
Thank you.
So do you have to have a point person for the mingle space to be there, to be the
So that's the
mingler?
difference. That's the difference between this and after I came up with this idea, someone I saw, they did it in the UK. It's called the Chatty Cafe scheme. I think it was actually in the show Fleabag, but the idea here is, anyone can create a meetup event with meetup.com, but the idea of a conversation table, the mingle space, is that it's almost like the reflection of that. Let's have places take the lead. So you don't have to have an individual say, "Hey, everybody, I'm lonely, come over and sit by me at my table." It's that, oh, I'm participating in a place encouraged initiative. Places are encouraging us to talk to each other, and I'm simply participating in this initiative that they're doing. So the place creates they put out the sign, and there's no staffing or other resources required. So the idea is if this was something that was widespread enough, then people would know, like, oh, I know what that means. That's the permission to say hi to people, whoever's there. So it's not an event, and it doesn't require staffing.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Great question. And Danielle jumped in the chat on some great things that they're doing in De Pere. They're installing a buddy bench in one of the parks and hosting an intergenerational senior ball. So some awesome things happening in the Brown County area. I know there's more going on throughout the state, so I'll give it maybe a little bit more time, 20 seconds or so, if anyone wants to share a question or a resource. We'll keep doing this at future meetings. Okay, I'm not seeing anything else come through. I do want to share some local. Trisha shared that the men's shed in Barron County is still going strong, so that's awesome to hear. Our next network meeting is going to be on August 19th, and we are going to schedule that one to be an hour and a half. So save the date on your calendar for an hour and a half for that one. We'll have some of the past ARPA grantees for social connection and livable communities sharing about their projects. And then we just have 3 more network meetings for the year, so register for those if you haven't already. Other ways to stay connected: join the Nationwide Network of Champions, check us out on Facebook, share our social media posts. And you can always contact the email if you do have any resources to share or questions to ask. And the recording for this meeting will be sent out by the end of the week. After you close out of Zoom, you'll automatically be redirected to a survey. So please complete that survey to provide feedback for upcoming network meetings and future coalition activities. Again, thanks to our speakers, and hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Suzanne.